Hello everybody, I'm back to playing some Blitz games and the like. Haven't posted a video for a few days, so thought that I would come back with a bang and try and upload, say, 3 videos all on the same day. So this game, I'm going to be playing 5-3 for at least the next few matches. And here I'm playing this kind of Vienna Gambit type position, where essentially white is trying to play bishop c4 and then charge at the opponent. But g5 is always an interesting move. And I'm trying to remember the theory here. I don't think I can play bishop c4 from memory, but I don't remember. Maybe I meant to go h3 first here. In this line, because there's a line where the knights on the c-file are not on the board, off their starting squares, and then I think bishop c4 is a move, but this makes the game subtly different. Alright, well I need to get control of the centre before castling, so I should be occupying the centre of the board. Black is shoring up on the king side. I might even castle queen side, but nah, that's a pipe dream. I think I have to castle quickly to try and disrupt my opponent's plan. And they are also potentially going to castle on the king side as well. E5 doesn't look right. D5 also feels wrong. Knight D5 is interesting, shall we say. H4 is an interesting move, because that would sort of make things a bit difficult for them. But I just don't feel like it's right. Yeah, it's the kind of position where white's just worse generally. I don't like this too much for me. Alright, well queen d3 at least gets the rooks closer to being connected together, and my bishop on c1 may end up giving its life for the f4 pawn, which is blocking me in. Alright, so black probably will castle, and then maybe even bishop d2 is a move. It doesn't look very enterprising to play bishop d2. Knight h2 would be a move, but then knight would take on d4. Possibly even a3 to prevent knight a5 picking the bishop pair up, and also knight b4 could be annoying in some positions where it hits the queen. So possibly a3 is correct if they castle. If they go knight b4 now, maybe, I don't know, maybe I play, it's either queen e2 or queen d2 or bishop f7. Like, those are the 3 moves to be considered. You may also be wondering why my blitz is lower than it has been in the past. That's because over the last few weeks I've been playing in these hourly blitz tournaments, and that's really been affecting my rating because I'm berserking and not playing very well. Right, a6. What's the plan there? b5 and then b4? Alright, I'm going to stick with a3 because of this knight b4 prophylactic move, and that will allow me to play bishop d2 without the c2 pawn being forked. So yeah, I'm concerned about knight b4 forking these, so that prevented that. And where's black going to go next? You would think castling would be on their horizons, but it's possible that there's stuff like bishop d7. I think, oh, b5, okay, well, I mean, is there a sacrifice? Something ridiculous I can do? Knight takes, maybe? Let's see, knight, oh no, the knight's defending their c6 knight, that would be awful. Alright, bishop b2, a2 I mean, off we go. Definitely doesn't look very nice for me, but they have weakened their queen side. That means that castling queen side is less likely, meaning that I can concentrate all my attacking power on the king side. Big question is whether to push this h pawn to h4, sacrifice on f4, or maneuver my pieces around to improve them. Because the longer I leave it, the better black's position will get. So I may need to do something very, very dynamic and forcing. Let's see. G3 would allow H3 to drop. H4 allows G4. Alright, well, I don't see a move. Bishop D2 then. Now maybe I can play Rook A to E1. Don't see anything terribly wrong with it, so I guess Rook A E1 is the move, improving the rooks. Possibly even King H1 later on to prevent any counterattacks. And F5, what does that do? Don't really see the point of it. I suppose if I push E5, they can take everything and then give me not enough really. They would give me the option of losing a pawn or of trading the queens. All right, go for it then. Knight D5. This move essentially is trying to force the action, essentially. And I do have a nasty decision to make if they play F takes E4. If they take here, my options are take with the queen, then they go with their bishop to F5, and they attack me and win a pawn. Or if I take with my rook. If I take with my rook, I will lose the exchange, but maybe I have some kind of initiative. Yeah, it doesn't look good. I really don't want to be put to this decision, to be honest. I'd prefer them to play bishop b7 or some other move, which is less critical. But yeah, if they take on e4, it's either take with my rook or take with my queen. Both have downsides, but they might also have some small positives. Although, I mean, I guess they can't take on c2 yet because their e7 knight might drop. So, yeah, still possible stuff. So yeah, maybe taking with the queen is okay. They're also down very low on time, which is another benefit in this position. It makes the game harder for them to play. With the increment, though, it means I can't be too rash. I am going to take with the rook, though, because queen takes just feels wrong. And then this will give me the chance to double up. I suppose I should take with the rook. No, knight g6. I hadn't seen that. Yeah. Yeah, that's nice, isn't it? That keeps me from getting too much initiative. So here, bishop takes, queen takes, king h7 maybe, and possibly I have... Oh, okay, knight b8. Very strange move. I don't understand that move. Rook e8, possibly? Then I should be fine. I don't know why they did not take the exchange. Knight b8 I think is a blunder because their rook on a8 is no longer on the e8 square, which I think they banked on, so I couldn't play rook e8. Now this looks very promising in this position. Do I have a mate? I'm looking at stuff like knight f6 check. Doesn't work. Knight c7 maybe? And then rook a7, bishop g8, bishop e6. Yeah, I want to play bishop g8 check. So this move will not, I wouldn't say force it, but it will induce that move. bishop g8, and bishop e6. Ah, but they take my knight at the end. That's the downside. Although maybe I can play rook e6 at the end. Oh, okay, they've resigned. Good. Alright, probably not the best game I've ever played, but at least it was a win. On to the next match. Who will I be facing then? Okay, 2160. They look... Oh, okay, that was a slight pre-move. Never mind, never mind. I will have to improvise here. There's a line called the England Gambit, which is not exactly good, but it does sometimes result in quick wins. I meant to play e6 for some reason. I just had a mental mental breakdown's not the right phrase at all. I just had a mental lapse for a few seconds and played e5 by mistake. Alright, well, they may not know the theory, so if they play bishop f4, then I actually know what to do. And they're playing some, non-critical line. Okay, so this is now not so bad. Yeah, not bad at all. So I need to think about developing the bishops and knights. I believe castling kingside is correct here. So knight f6 may allow me to play d5. d5. Do I want to play it straight away? If I play it straight away, then maybe white can play things like c4 and knight c3 and play it like in English. So possibly bishop c5 is correct here. And what this does is it allows simple castling in the next move, which I will do. And then I can start thinking about stuff with developing pieces. Alright, so there's a common trap, which is almost never going to be fallen for, but queen e7. And in the Budapest, there's a line where white plays bishop takes c7, and it fails due to the move pawn d6, which trap the bishop. However, here, I guess white could pirouette the bishop round to a5, where it's safe. But then I'm very active, and white has lost a lot of time in capturing a pawn. So essentially I'm doing a gambit. A high-level gambit, shall we say. Or just a simple mistake, but my way sounds better. So bishop c7, d6, bishop a5, bishop g4, I don't know, rook e1, and maybe rook e8. Oh, and this is exactly what happens. So here, yeah, the plan is to play rook e8, bishop g4, and I'm aiming at this pawn with everything I have. And luckily, they can't play, well, not luckily, but they can't play f3 because they're pinned due to my bishop. Yeah, luck is the wrong word, but essentially by putting my bishop on c5, I do always have this long-term pressure against the pawn pinning it. So by putting my pieces in the right places, it leads to certain tactical features of the position, which benefit me. So rook e1 is probably correct, but then I can play rook e8 and I'm on the pawn a bit more. And bishop f3, I'm guessing is a move, but no, possibly I can take it, or even play bishop h3, and I get some play here. Yeah, it looks good for black, to be honest. As long as I don't blunder, which is the famous last words, and if I don't give any more advantages for white, so as long as I don't give them another pawn or any more weaknesses. My d pawn is actually a weakness right now. It hasn't moved up the board enough to be considered like gaining space. And it's a weak, isolated pawn. The only good thing about it is it's anchoring my bishop, so there's no way they can take that bishop free on b4. So I play b4 immediately. Possibly I have the intermezzo or the Zwischenzug or in-between move. Bishop takes e2, attacking their queen. And then they would have to spend a move saving the queen, and I'd win back my pawn. Again, they are seriously considering this position, which means that's good for me. Yeah, let's go bishop h3 to keep the pressure on. Part of the reason I've done this is to try and exploit the fact I'm ahead on time. If we were both on, say, 4 minutes, I would probably be playing bishop takes bishop. But now I still have this plan, knight e4, using the f2 pawn as a weakness. They have managed to defend. That's not good. Maybe f5? But then, I don't know, rook to d8 or e8. No, d8's bad. Rook to e8 then, I guess. So either rook to e8 or f5. I'm not sure. I'm going to play f5 because if bishop takes knight, that gives me pawn takes or queen takes. Both look good. And king h8 is always a move I can play in the near future. And, you know, it just gives me a slight initiative here. And now rook e8. So all my pieces are in the right kind of area of the board. They're all playing on the king's side. I just need to figure out a way through. Knight takes f2 is certainly what I'm considering here. And queen c2 doesn't seem to address it, so can I go knight f2? Knight f2. Do it, knight f2. So the most critical lines if they take with their king, I can probably take with my bishop then. Check, king e2. It just looks winning, but I can't actually see how to win. Alright, forget that move. Forget knight f2. Maybe it doesn't work. What else could I do? Knight takes d2 doesn't work. Bishop takes e3 doesn't work. f4? No, that's rubbish. g5 with f4? No. Doesn't work either, I don't think. g5 just feels ridiculous, opening up my king too much. It's too slow. I'm sure they can do like knight takes knight or something. Just knight f2 felt right. Okay, one more time. Knight f2. King takes. What next? What about f4? And then I'm trying to open up. You know, open up the king to the rook. If they take me with their e pawn, it's illegal because it's pinned. If they take with the g pawn, I can do queen h4 check. And then rook takes e3, and it's looking like I'm winning. Yeah, knight f2 might be actually the winning move. I guess I have to consider what happens if they don't take me, which I didn't look at, to be honest. I'm assuming I can simply play knight back to e4 or g4, and I've got a big advantage because I've got so much tactics. But that is sometimes a thing I do which is bad, not considering every move of my opponent, only the one that looks the most obvious. There are occasionally quiet moves which stop me in my tracks. So yeah, this plan of f4 looks very good for me. Shame I didn't find it first time round and spend however long it was, a minute or so, analysing in the wrong continuations. So yeah, king takes f4. That's the key move. And it makes sense because I improved the rook, possibly the queen and the bishop as well, on the c5. Again, they're really analysing this deeply because they must know I wouldn't have played this move if I didn't have, you know, at least some chance of winning. So they have to consider it. Yes, they've done a quiet move, knight c4. So that at least gets me out of you know, anything like totally lost. I'm justified in taking f2 if they don't play the critical lines. Now e3 is the weakness I'm going after with this move knight g4. If bishop takes knight, I'm going to take with the pawn. That will improve my rook and potentially have some sort of mating chances later. So actually I'll pre-move pawn takes. 35 seconds for my opponent, who is really in trouble here. I mean, possibly white's fine with like rook ad1 or some other, you know, move that doesn't really address the key issues. But I think I still have to take on e3. Ooh, but b4. Oh wow. Can I not take it with my knight? Yeah, I can't take it with the knight. I'm hitting the queen now. Oh, but actually, oh, okay. I was going to say, actually, if I take my bishop, we both take each other's queens. So it's less obvious. Okay, so I've got what I want. This looks very, very good. Just how to break through. Let's do it. Oh, actually, I don't need to break through. I can play b6. Much easier. Take this. Oh, actually, yeah, my other bishop's being attacked. So I'm guessing f4 defends, and then if they take with their pawn, I guess. Oh, that's quite a nice move. I found a cunning move here. Queen h4. So I was planning on rook takes f4 actually, but I've seen this now. I was thinking I could even sack my queen for the 2 rooks, but here even better. This X-ray. And when they take with their rook, I take with my other rook on e8, and I checkmate them using my h3 bishop. So while the bishop wasn't involved in any direct tactics, it was useful in preventing the white king having many escape squares. Alright, that was nice. So who have I got now? I've got another 2100. I mean, I've put the parameters at I think 500 points or less above my rating, and they have to be at least 250 points below or higher. So that means it's a rating basically from 2000 all the way to 2800. I keep getting people who are lower than me. Shame, really. I wanted to play like a 2300 or something and gain back a lot of points. But we've got a London system. And I never know how to play it, so I choose to play something different. In Queen b6. Oh yeah, this is a line, isn't it? Queen takes b2 and then knight b5 and things look ugly. Alright, I'm not falling for that. I've fallen for it before. Let's play simple with e6. Bishop b4 is the plan along... Oh, okay, well they've stopped that plan then with me doing this. Alright, so I still can't take that pawn, I don't think, because there's rook, there's knight b5, like rook b1, and all that stuff. I'm wondering if I can play a6. It just looks awful, but I'm going to try and treat it like some kind of Khan Sicilian or something, but with the pawn on d4 being on the board. Alright, now can I do it? Queen b2. Queen b2. Rook b1's not playable, so the knight has to move. Oh, knight a4. Very nice. a3 actually helped them. Knight a4 is very nice. Trapping the queen. Forget that then. Knight c6. Oh dear, my queen on b6 looks like a failure. It cannot seem to ever be able to take that pawn. Alright, and I'll push my pawn to d5. So what line is this? It's almost like some kind of strange Caro-Kann, because the e and c pawns have disappeared from white and black respectively. So I have the c file at least. Bishop d7. Now knight a4 is the move I often see in these positions because it attacks my queen. It looks a bit troublesome for me. Yep, and then I think the queen should drop to d8, to be honest. a7 is sometimes okay, but d8 is more flexible. Knight c5, and then b6 is somewhat useful occasionally, but a6 drops. Alright then, queen c8. So my queen's moved 3 times. It doesn't look too happy with the situation right now. It's not a very good-looking queen. How will white continue here? Queen d3 might be the move. But possibly like rook e1, just something simple to continue improving the heavy pieces. But no, bishop d3, improving the minor pieces. Alright, well I think now's my chance with b6. Okay, well, I've lost the 2 bishops, but the good thing is I've managed to get the knight pair, if that's if that's a thing. It's not really, but it's what I'm deciding to call it. I'm looking at b5, blocking the bishops, but then a4 is a move. a4 for white, and that would break up my pawn structure. Oh dear. I don't know, maybe I can take on b4 though. So yeah, if oh, they've done this move. Well, if I play knight takes, then they take with their pawn, and my knight doesn't really have anywhere to go, so I may have to be sacking pawns with knight e4. Right, I've allowed them too much pressure here. Alright, queen b7. I need to prevent bishop takes b5 and then the queen coming in, which would pin my knight, cause me lots of issues. So I'm defending my b pawn and also my knight with the queen. Knight takes, okay, well that's a no-brainer. Knight takes back, queen takes back. And then if a4, I guess I play takes, I suppose. It's either takes or castles. Which one would it be? It would be... So if a4 takes, there's b5. Then I move the queen back. So they go to a4 and I take it. They go b5 and then they have stuff. But never mind, it's not relevant yet. They've done bishop e5. That gives me time to achieve the best of both worlds. Castle, and now if they go a4, the options are take it or don't, basically. And if I take it, there's less chance of me being pinned and horrible stuff happening, because my king is now out of harm's way for the moment. White does still have the two bishops and a good space advantage here, I would say. That bishop on e5 and their roving bishops attacking the king side and the queen side could give me a big headache. Ideally, if I can trade off the dark squared bishops, I shouldn't be too bad. I mean, ideally, I suppose I could trade off my knight for their light squared bishop. That's why knight e4 is not the worst move out there. But I don't really want to lose a pawn for it. And they've stopped that idea completely with the move f3. Alright, well, rook fc8 looks somewhat playable, so I guess do this. Aiming at the c-pawn, which I'm never going to take while that bishop is still occupying d3. Well, with g4, it means their queen has fewer ways to access h7. So possibly I can trade the bishops off. Big question is, if they play f4, do I take it? Because they take with the f-pawn, then suddenly they've got all the initiative. Maybe I put my knight on the c4 square. But after that, I can't really improve my position. I have to then fight on the king side. Actually, no, f4 allows f6. What else can they do here? They can do bishop g3, I suppose. And I can then improve with moves like bishop to f6, aiming at the d4 square. So I really want to have my knight on c4 and my bishop on f6 if I had the perfect structure. And possibly then I play the move pawn a5 to improve my rooks and have somewhere to attack. Yeah, bishop g3. Alright, so get my move in. Bishop to f6. Yeah, clever. Bishop f2. Knight b6 is coming in. I suppose I have to be a bit worried about g5 in the near future after f4, which would then give them even more space and possibly allow queen to h5. And that's exactly what looks like is going to happen. The thing is, I don't see a good way to prevent this. If I go h6, they might still be able to go g5, sacrificing the pawn and opening up too many lines. I may have to allow this simply to activate my own pieces with knight c4. bishop goes somewhere. Let's say e7. Maybe d8 was better actually. Anyway, e7, and it can come around to d6. I'm now thinking that f5 might be a move for white. No, queen h5. Well, that looks like it's not much to do other than prevent h7 with mate. So h7 is not achieved. And then let's go a5. It must be time to do something on the queen side. Both of us don't have as much time as we would like, but I am double their time. That's at least a comforting thought. So these positions, they're very hard to play because white often has this initiative, which at the moment the pawns are blocked up, so perhaps it's not so bad. But normally white gets a big attack on the king side, and black's attack on the queen side is a lot slower. So essentially black has to be playing two ways, both defending against threats on the king side, and if they survive, then the queen side attack comes in. But if they don't defend correctly, then all of a sudden things can get horrible. What shall I do here? I want to say rook a4 is correct, so that I can play rook on c8, a8, and if they take me, I'll take back, getting a passed pawn, which has indeed happened. Okay, one. Does no, a3 is rubbish. Alright, well, I guess rook to a8 makes sense because it puts the rook behind the passed pawn. Bishop takes. Do I want to take the queen or the pawn? Do I want the queens off or on? Difficult one, actually. Whose king is safer is the question to ask. Well, the way I see it, my bishop is better than theirs. My bishop's active in the sense of it's a good bishop. It's attacking all of white's pawns, literally. All of them can be taken, but none of mine can get taken by their bishop. So with that tactical advantage, and with their rook being more passive, I want to say that I take with the pawn, keeping the queens on. Then rook a3, and I can't do anything ridiculous like bishop takes b4, I want to say. So I guess just simple improvements are the things that make sense here. Bishop d6, bishop g3, yep, okay, then queen d5. So I've got my queen, bishop and rook all in fairly good places on the board. Next up is how to increase my initiative. Queen h1 looks interesting here. Oh, but then queen f3, forcing the trade. Alright, so queen f5. Oh, I dropped the pawn. That's not good. Although maybe I can play queen c2. Okay, yeah, I just didn't see that they can take on c4. That's not good. Alright, well... Ooh, do I take c2 or not? Maybe not. Maybe I play a7. Just to get rid of any chances for them. Then queen c2 is coming next turn, I think. Yeah, let's go queen c2. H3. Well, their king is living on borrowed time, it looks like. I can't see a way to get the king. That's why I'm a bit nervous about it, but I guess winning the rook is good enough. I was just thinking, how can I make the king, but I can't see how. Alright, that was a good win. Okay, well, I'll end the video either when I lose spectacularly and drop all the points I gained, or when I actually manage to get back to 2300. And then will be the long, slow grind back up to 2400 again. Alright, another 2100. Alright, well, I'll play... oh, mouse slip. Oh, dear. Oh, dear. Do I even bother playing on? I meant to play f4. Alright, well, I suppose make an omelette or something. What's the phrase? Can't make an omelette without breaking a few eggs. So the egg that's getting broken is my king. Alright, well, okay, well, they seem to be playing a troll opening like me, although more deliberately. They're playing an Alekhine, but a tempo down. This is very interesting. Alright, well, they're just messing with me now. Alright, c4. And then yes, I've repaired my pawn structure with f4. Very strange. So we've got an Alekhine where their knight's on g8, not on b6. b6. All right, I don't really know what to do in this line, to be honest. I'm sure this kind of thing is okay for black. It just is one of those positions where they have to play perfectly and not mess it up at all, and then they're actually fine. Yeah, I suppose my f3, f4 move has kind of cancelled out their knight being ridiculous. Alright, well, I'm still happy with the position, a lot happier than I thought I would be. Now, take with the queen or not? I think I have to, because g takes allows queen h4. So despite the fact I'm dropping the pawn, I'm still not too upset with things. Can I go ridiculous? Yeah, let's play ridiculous. Queen takes b7. Allow knight c2. Just allow everything to happen. Have I lost? Yeah, that looks bad. Oh, maybe I have queen e4 actually. Yeah, of course. I saw it last move, but for some reason I didn't see moving it backwards to the same place until like 10-20 seconds had passed, or however long it had been. Okay, well now I'm very happy because I've won a pawn. And the knight's attacked, so they can't take on b2. c5 is possibly the correct move here. I'm not sure how to finish them off. Possibly I still don't have anything right now. Oh, bishop c5. Alright, well, let's continue this Paul Morphy-esque way of playing, which I've not played like him at all. But this castling queenside plan is always nice. Getting the initiative with a useful pin. I can't see a way for black to save himself, actually. It's a lot stronger than I first thought. For some reason I thought they had an extra piece guarding themselves, and then f5 can I not just simply take? I don't understand it. Take it. Knight takes, and then queen e5? I guess they can go knight d7, I guess. But then I take on g7, everything's dropping, right? And if queen d6 I take it, and if knight c6 I take the queen with check. That's all the candidates I can see. Yeah, I feel like black's, blundered quite a lot here. Maybe castling's correct. But it's a piece, there's a saying, a pawn is a pawn. Well, a piece is a piece. So grab this. Then trade the queens, I want to say. Yeah, get the queens off the board. Activate the bishop. And then take everything. And I've gone a piece up with a very simple ending. Alright, well, rook d1 is also a strong move, but I wanted to make sure we got the trade of rooks. Yeah, of course, resignation. Okay, that wasn't exactly an amazing game, but it was at least useful in getting me back up to almost 2300. One more game might do it. How long have we been going? Okay, just about 40 minutes. So 45, no, a bit longer. About a 50-minute video then. Maybe longer if the game goes to like the very ending. So far though, my opponents have been quite generous to me. They've been giving me lots of attacks. Not really putting me under too much pressure. Alright, well I'll play in English for the last game. Oh, this line. Alright, well, I'm not sure if I've ever had a video of a game which has had this opening in it. So if you ever wanted to see the pseudo Panov Botvinnik in the Karakan, you've got your wish. I used to know this theory back to front, so I've been a bit forgetful with some of my opening theories. It's been a long time. Bishop there is not correct though, because Queen B3 gives me protection of the pawn. Now the thing to not blunder with is if they go Queen C7 or Queen C8, attacking this bishop, you don't play Bishop C4 because they have B5 and then they pin and skewer you. So you go Knight C3. That's the only trap which is associated with this particular move order. And Queen A... I don't know Queen A5 actually. I don't know if I should take the pawn or if I should defend my d-pawn. I think I should take the pawn. Because, okay, I'll still have an isolated d-pawn, but I am a pawn up. And I just need to... Now, in the past, I have played very badly in these spots. Because I've played moves like Knight C3 or Knight F3 without thinking. Allowed Knight B4, and then all of a sudden I'm in trouble. I'm actually going to play a very ugly move, A3. I'm going to shut down Black's counterplay. And from here, it should be, let's say, comfortable. Let's not say winning. By removing this Knight B4, and a Knight D4 is coming, so I'm preventing that with Knight F3. And my plan is to eventually get the move D4 in. But I might have to play slower with things like Knight C3 first and stuff. Okay, and then again, they're going for my bishop. I don't want that to happen, so Knight C3 counters that very easily. Then E6. Okay, well this allows D4, doesn't it? Don't see a problem with it, so D4. My bishops are ready to move out and prove themselves. Black's bishop on D7 actually is awful, it can't move, so it's barely counted as a developed piece. Essentially, Black has developed three pieces, the rook and the two knights. I've developed two knights, but I have that pawn in the centre, and also I'm a pawn up, so it's still worth it. And now, I don't think I take their knight, even though it gives them an isolated pawn as well. It lets out their bishop on D7. I think I might... Yeah, I might pin them with this. And I'm thinking if they castle, maybe then I take, and then I'll castle as well. And that will give me a simple pawn majority on the queen side as the advantage. Alright, well I'm doing well for time. I generally get out the opening with, with about 4 minutes or so left. Occasionally it's a bit less if they play something strange. And usually I'm at least equal, occasionally a bit worse, but not usually enough to resign after the opening. And the middle game, this is my weakest point, I think, in the middle game. Yeah, alright, so let's take this knight and castle on the king side. Castling isn't needed when the queens are off the board, but because there's so many minor pieces and both rooks, I want to avoid any bad omens of things to come with keeping my king in the centre of the board. Right, bishop g4 aims at doubling my pawns. Not sure I can really avoid that, to be honest. I suppose bishop e3 is forced, saving the pawn. And then if they're generous and they don't take my knight, I will be able to move it without losing the d4 pawn. Or the bishop pair. I didn't want to play bishop takes c6. So black will have a little bit of compensation with my ruined kingside pawn structure, with doubled, isolated pawns everywhere. However, I do get the bishop pair, which is a useful feature. a somewhat open position. I would say it's a semi-open centre. That used to be a really popular phrase, the semi-open games, when there'd usually be like one pawn each in the centre, for example. But it seems to be have been retired as a phrase. I mostly just hear about open games and closed games these days from most people I know. They don't seem to count semi-open as its own category. I still do, because I used to read those old chess books written in like the 1960s, 1970s. Oh, have I made a mistake here? Ah, didn't see that. Oh dear, so silly of me. Have I just thrown away all my advantage? Yeah, my problem is my bishop's being attacked, and if I move it, there you take this pawn. If I defend it with a4 though, I thought they had a6, but I guess I win the pawn. Yeah, a4. Okay, that worried me for a moment, because if I was losing that pawn for nothing, then I think my advantage is gone. So now it's a passed a pawn that I have. So first I'll anchor my bishop, just to make sure that there's no undefended pieces in my structure at all. So very, very solid. And my plan is to try and get my rooks up the board. f5 is coming to play f4. Ooh, so my bishop might turn into a French bishop. The one on e3, I mean. Because I might have to play f4 myself. And that will completely trap my bishop in, but it will be defending everything. So there's a bishop in the French where the light squared bishop for black goes to e6, and it just stays there for ages. And eventually it can actually become useful much, much later. But its essential job is just to be a large pawn, where it's guarding everything and preventing the opponent getting too much initiative. So this isn't really the dream scenario when you have the bishop pair. Now I'd say it's more of a closed centre, because there's two sets of pawns blocking each other on d and f. Queenside's more open though, so possibly my bishop can way in the future sort of bring itself round the board and do stuff. Another thing is I want to put my rook on the c-file in black's half to infiltrate, but all the squares on the c-file are being controlled by the black bishop or knight or rook. I don't have the justification to play rook to c6, for example. I suppose it would win the pawn on d5, but I'm not going to give the exchange just for a pawn. I might do it for two pawns. Oh, g5, I missed this. Oh, nice move. Yeah, g5. So that they have a pawn that's coming to f4 very soon. Alright, well I can't prevent the pawn coming to f4. Yeah, this isn't good. Alright, maybe if I trade rooks, I remove some of black's advantage with this. Not advantage, but their counterplay with this. Because, okay, the good thing is, if I lose that f-pawn, whatever happens, I will make them have doubled f-pawns. So therefore, their extra pawn on the king side is literally just one of the two f-pawns, which I'm holding with my f2 pawn. But my extra pawn on the queen side isn't being held by a pawn at all. So this may give me enough to win the game. And another key feature is if they go bishop c7, I don't want to trade off my dark squared bishop for their knight, because then it will be opposite coloured bishops. I'd have a bishop on b5, they'd have one on, say, c7 or a5. But I may want to trade like this. Now it's same coloured bishops, which give me a lot more chances to win. So first let's bring the king a little bit closer to my goal. I'm going for the f4 pawn. I'm not even pretending to play this, carefully and slowly. I'm just going for the pawns. the a pawn's a long-term advantage, so I cannot lose that a pawn. The d pawn's a bit less of an advantage, but I still want it. Getting greedy. And also, black is very low on time here, so this is another factor into my attack on the f pawn. They can't really defend it. They have to play quite aggressively. I'm guessing. Oh, king e6. I was thinking they'd move their rook to like e8 or something to threaten rook e4. This might be better actually. All right. Well, rook b5 cuts their king off from any infiltrations to d5. So this is the simple move. Then play a5 to keep my pawn on the board. Yeah, rook a6. Okay. So now, can I take on f4? Bishop takes, king takes. I don't really see what they do, so yeah, why not? Let's take it. Bishop takes, king takes. I've now got all the pawns on my side. Ooh, could I even play d5 just to be annoying? Probably not. No, let's just play simple, rook b6. And get this winning ending. Key move here is d5, I think, because now the king can't ever take on b6. And then my king is just quick enough to catch the c-pawn. And win. Oh, I just missed out on the 2300. Okay, so there's one more game after this. Oh, one point. Alright then. Never mind. Although actually, it's saying that my parameter is exactly minus 250. So my guess is that it's actually closer when you round it, because I believe that the value not shown on the tabulations for my rating, if you go into like the settings and your profile and stuff, it will actually show your ratings down to the decimal point. I can't remember if it's 1 or 2 decimal places, but it doesn't matter. It's closer to 2300 than it is to 2299, but it's not quite there yet. They don't round up, they actually round down for single numbers. So this means that if I win, even if it said I gain 0, I might still actually reach the point. So if I played like a 1200 and I won, it might still get me just over the mark, because you still gain like probably 1/10 of a point if you beat them. And here we go, French lines. I don't want to draw, so possibly I shouldn't have done a French, because we have the French exchange. How to do this, how to play for a win in the French exchange. How to play for a win. Well, I suppose I watched a video on this a while ago. c5 is probably the most aggressive move, and they've taken it. That is unusual. Alright, well, I will not be a stranger. I'll take that pawn. Knight f6 is on the way. Castling and castling look good. So essentially I've got the isolated pawn, but I do have initiative. Or whatever you want to call it, space, something. So with this extra space, I need to be putting my pieces far up the board. So knight bd7 is what I would normally play, but here I need to be thinking more about gaining more space on them. So again, I wouldn't normally do this, but h6 is a way to gain a bit more space. If they take with their bishop, they lose the bishop pair, then I've got adequate compensation. But no, they're not, so I'm going to go g5, gain even more space, force them back, and rook e8. So another thing with the isolated pawn is that the 2 files adjacent to it are very useful for your pieces. Now, rook c8 looks good here for me. I don't see a stronger move, so I'm going to go rook c8. The plan is to go knight b4, and there's some tactics where I win their queen. Although it would be for 3 pieces, it might not actually be that good. Interesting. Alright, rook e1's been played though, so that's maybe not so good. Can I go, I don't know, queen b6 possibly here? I'm connecting my rooks. I've got my queen and bishop in a battery pointing at their f2 pawn. And I also have like knight h5 trying to Try and get rid of this bishop so I can then take this pawn. Overall, these positions are usually... The computer loves it for white normally, so it's probably about plus, I'd say plus 0.4, something like that. We can check afterwards if you like, if you lot like. Or you can just simply stop the video after I win. And if anyone else who's interested can see the analysis of this game, just 'cause I'm interested in the opening evaluations. Because white's meant to have the advantage from the beginning, but it's not that obvious how. I mean, how they use the advantage, I should say. Apart from the old, Nimzovich plan of blockade, blockade, secure, blockade, destroy, or something like that. Yeah, I didn't see this move. Nice move. Alright, well, I guess I have to continue on with my plan. Knight h5. And what to do next? They will play, what, rook e2, I would guess? Oh no, that's... oh dear, that's terrible. Not seeing anything at the moment. Yeah, rook e2 is a horrible blunder. Okay, that's good. Well, I thought that they could play queen takes c8 check again, but the thing is, after I move the king, then I've got a rook on e2 and it's pointing at this. So I'm aiming all my pieces at the f2 pawn. And I don't think there's an adequate way to defend it. So the check won't matter. Well, I've got them thinking, as I usually do, with my very strange, unorthodox way of meeting ideas and meeting the threats and creating my own threats. White could play radically with b4 here. Then I either play bishop f8 or I take the bishop with my knight. And then we all take everything. I guess I win a pawn at the end. I get doubled isolated b pawns. So they go b4. I take their bishop. They take my bishop. I take their queen. They take my queen. And then I finally capture them here. So yeah, I win the pawn, but it's not a very good one. Although they'd also have isolated pawns on the A and C files. Yeah, they're really considering what to do here. I mean, sacrificing doesn't feel right, but knight takes g5 does have to be considered. It doesn't feel right because I can always take their knight and go knight g7. I don't think there's enough. I mean, there is always the chance I can ignore them, but, a piece is a piece. I'll take the knight. H4 might be interesting if it weren't for the fact I could take their bishop for free then, because the f-pawn is pinned. They have taken. Alright, well, I'm true to my word. I will take. Then keep my piece with knight to g7. What do they have in store? They have the move knight b3. Huh. Well, I guess that what this does is it stops their pawn dropping and it does threaten to take. I mean, do I really mind if they take it? I don't really mind. I think knight to e5, e7, I mean, is good. Because bishop e5, knight g6. My queen should be able to guard everything. Oh wait, have I blundered? Oh dear. I might have blundered there actually. I just saw knight takes here, queen takes, and then they have b5, b4. So my queen can't protect my knight anymore. And if I were to try and take this pawn, so these would have all vanished, and I'd have my queen over here on c3. Then they could play bishop e5, which they've just done. But luckily, they've played bishop e5 first. So I think knight g6 is basically forced, right? Yeah, knight g6. I mean, queen g6 was also an option, but I prefer this. Attacking their bishop, keeping them on their toes. I mean, maybe I could have played bishop f2 check. Oh well. Probably would have still been, you know, a bit under pressure. Right, well, trade pieces when you're ahead. Pawn takes is probably going to get played. Then I have rook c... Oh no, rook c2 would, well, just be about playable, wouldn't it? c2. Puts my knight in a very strange position, though. Alright, maybe I force them to take me first. With queen b4. Attacking their rook. So when they trade, I get the open file. Okay, well, they're doing the same thing, essentially. In fact, they have to take with their queen, don't they? Because I have rook e1 mates. No, queen e1 for more spectacular effect. So I mate when I'm material down, which is a, you know, my own personal favourite thing to do. All right, so I won the game. That is over 2,300 for the first time since yesterday. And I think the last time I was 2,400 was about a month ago because I played quite badly in lots of small tournaments and things. All right, let's have a look at this because, I mean, yeah, the computer often says the first few moves are drawn just because it's on an opening table base essentially. For the most the absolute like most popular, say 10 opening lines ever played. All right, so it liked black very briefly with the evaluation. Now it's still saying essentially level. Look, essentially, what I've noticed about Stockfish is that whenever it's analysing a position, whoever's turn it is always seems to have a little boost to the evaluation, like 0.1, 0.2. So here it likes sort of white by like 0.3. And it's going to say 0.7. Even if I played the computer move, it will probably then give white like minus 0.4. So it will have still given black a small boost. Bishop g4 is not in the top 5 though, so I may have made a mistake. Yeah, this is not so good. So now bd2. Yeah, so it's giving black, yeah, minus 0.1 with knight c6, but now plus 0.1 with knight c6. Okay, 0.1, 0.2, but then the moment I play it, it gave white a slight edge, now with 0.4, 0.3. Anyway, yeah, white's still a bit better, as I said. h6. And, oh, g5 is actually a good move. Alright. Might not have been the very best. It was flipping between there and knight to e5, but at least it's on the computer's radar. It's not totally awful. Rook e8 is top 3. c2. Ah, knight h5 now is better than rook c8. Yes, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So this move gave white some more. Okay, and it seems to be saying white, yeah, like somewhere around 0.5, 0.4, 0.3, 0.2, that's something like that. Although my best move is not obvious. Bishop e7 plus 2 for white. Apparently rook e8 or b4 are good. I thought b4 was awful, but that seems to be incorrect. Just felt strange playing b4, allowing the c3 pawn to be weak for my rook. But yeah, I suppose if it gains space, it forces me back. It makes my pieces worse. Maybe it is the best move. So bishop f5 gave me a slight edge. Knight e7 is better than knight h5. Yeah, it makes more sense that way because I'm defending my knight on f6 via my queen. And then I can play knight g6, but now knight h5, and it seems to have flipped. Knight takes, yeah, and I have to take. If I don't take, I'm just totally lost. So this is an obvious capture. And then again, if I don't save the knight, they've simply won 2 pawns and they've kept the attack. So if this move loses, it's just lost. You know what? I can't do anything else. I have to make the opponent play the best moves and answer the most critical line with the best answer. Yeah, knight b3, and yeah, black seems to have a slight edge, although it's not as high as I thought it would be with piece for 2 pawns. Oh, I missed bishop f2 then. I said after I played knight g6 that bishop f2 might have been a playable move, but I didn't think it was that good because they simply moved their king out of the way, and then I have to play knight g6 anyway. But I guess it wins a pawn, that's the main point. I just thought that it might make my bishop vulnerable. with my queen having to guard everything. But yeah, I seem to have missed it. Knight g6. Then this move is, according to the Nimzovich principle of blockading and destroying my d-pawn, is good with that plan, but it does trade pieces, giving black greater chances to convert their piece advantage. Then yeah, this was just a blunder after rook c1 takes, and then clearly queen takes is the only move, and blunder, and then win. Mate in 1. Alright, so managed to get my rating to 2302. Hooray. That is, I think that was actually the rating I started with yesterday, so I've managed to make it back to where I was. I hope you enjoyed the video, and see you next time. Bye.